So dilations, I'm sure you've heard or had to have your eyes dilated when you went to the eye doctor. So what that means is right here. If you have normal light, then your pupil is normal. So this little black part's normal. But if there's dim light and it's really dark, your pupil will get real big. So if you ever want to like be in the bathroom and have the light shut off and then turn them on real quick and look at your eyes and you can watch your pupils go and they get really small. It's kind of neat. Okay, so that's what's going on. When there's dim lights, your pupils get real big. Okay, so this is what a dilation is. This is your circle for your pupil, and then it's going to get bigger. So it's kind of the same thing as similar figures. It's just going to be something that's bigger, the same shape, but bigger or smaller. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so a dilation is an enlargement or a reduction of a picture. You also are going to have something called the scale factor. So the scale factor, they're going to tell you what the scale factor is or ask you for the scale factor. If it's bigger than 1, that makes it an enlargement. Okay, so if it's higher than 1, it's enlargement. And if it's between 0 and 1, and those are your only options, so no negatives. If it's between 0 and 1, like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, it goes on forever. So anything between 0 and 1, that's going to be a reduction. It's going to make it a smaller picture. Okay, so right here, notice the primes. The primes tell you the new picture. That's the most important thing. Okay, so the primes are the new picture. Since the blue picture is bigger, that makes it an enlargement. And then when you do your scale factor, you have to put your primes on top. So that's the really important thing up here with scale factor. If you take notes, make sure that the prime is on top. Okay, so when you do your scale factor, you put the prime on top. In other words, my prime right here, the prime number is 4. So just like we did with similar figures, this side matches up with this side. So make sure the prime's on top. You would put 4 over 2, and that's how you get your scale factor of 2. On this one, the bottom matches up with the bottom, so you have to make sure your prime goes on top. So 2 would go over 8, which would give you 1/4. So that is a smaller picture. It makes it a reduction. Also, the scale factor is between 0 and 1. Okay? So a couple problems. These are the ones where they're going to ask you, is it a reduction or enlargement, and then find the scale factor. So if you're looking at it, my prime picture is bigger. So bigger right away means that's going to be an enlargement. So I know it can't be these two. Okay, and then make sure that you put the prime on top. Here's the tricky part, and they give you the options in there too. Multiple choice is tricky like that. Make sure you put the entire picture on top like we did before. So this whole thing needs to be 8 plus 4, which is 12, over your regular picture 4. So 12 over 4 is what's going to give you 3. Now, if you made the common mistake of just seeing the number 8 and going, oh, it's 8 over 4, then you're going to get the wrong answer. And they do that kind of stuff to you on SOLs. So make sure you get the entire side, okay, because it's x prime right here. X prime and x are the exact same thing. So you got to put the entire thing over the entire side of the other picture, okay? Another one, this is where they graph them and don't give you numbers, okay? So it could be obnoxious, but I'll show you the easy way to find how to find the distance. So in this case, our prime picture, it tells me it wants to know if it's an enlargement or a reduction. So my prime picture, this blue one, is smaller, so that's going to be a reduction. And then they want to know the scale factor. So yes, you could do for most of these lines, you could do the distance formula. Nobody wants to do that if you don't have to. So a quick fix, an easy way is if you have a vertical or horizontal line, you don't need to do the distance formula. So you could do the distance formula for ML prime and ML and figure out what that is. But you've got a vertical line, so you don't have to mess with the distance formula. So if you have a vertical or horizontal line, count the spots. This is 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So vertical and horizontal lines you can do that with. Make sure your prime's on top. So if I do 2 over 4, that's going to give me a half. Okay? Down here, this also says scale factor with the dilation C as your center, so it doesn't always have to be the origin. That's going to be the center or things like that. It says determine if it's an enlargement or reduction. So look at my primes. My primes in this case is the green one. It's bigger, so that is an enlargement. And then it does say determine the scale factor as well. When they say congruence transformation, that means it's the same picture and it was a slide. So it was a translation. That's what a congruence transformation means, if you see that in directions. Okay, so same thing here. Find horizontal and vertical lines. Those are way easier. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that the prime is on top. So 6 over 3, which is a scale factor of 2. Okay, next. Over here, my prime picture is the green one. And since the green one is smaller, that is going to be a reduction. Doesn't really matter what your center line is. That's just, it's kind of like mapping the points to each other. So it's just going to, where your center is determines whether your pictures overlap or not. It's not really important. And we don't need to find the center. Like I said, in other years, we probably would find the center, but time, we're just going to do the general stuff. Okay, so I've got a vertical line right here, which is kind of tough to see what it's going to be in that case. Like this one's nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that one's going to be 6. And this one, it's looking at them like it's about to be a 3 because this little part would make up for this little part. Okay, there's not really coordinates given, so I'm just going to stick with 3 on this and make sure the prime goes on top. 3 over 6, which is going to be 1/2 for your scale factor. Okay, if you're not, I'm not going to give you one where you're not exactly sure and have to estimate unless I give you the coordinates. Okay, and finally, this one down here. So my prime picture is bigger, which makes it an enlargement. And for this one, unfortunately, you do not have the you do not have any vertical or horizontal lines. So you would actually have to do the coordinates. So I'll make this the x-axis because I didn't do that. We'll make this the x-axis and we'll make this the y-axis. Okay, so in that case, I've got 1, this is 0, -1. And you only have to do it for one side. You don't have to do it for all the sides. And then S is going to be 1, 2, 1. Okay, and then the green one, -1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, 0, -4. And then S prime over there, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. So we have to find the distance for them. I'm going to do the prime one first. So 0 - 4, you're doing the distance formula. So you got 0 - 4 squared. And then you've got -4 - 0 squared. So you're going to get 16 and 16, which is the square root of 32. Okay, so I'm going to get for this distance, which that'll break down. You got to use your factor trees if you're going to be doing that, but that actually breaks down to 4 square roots of 2. Okay, for the blue one, I've got to do it again. So 0 - 2 is -2 squared. And then I've got -1 - 1, which is another -2 squared. Okay, so I'm going to get 4 and 4, which is the square root of 8. And then if I do the square root of 8 and break it down, that's going to give me 2 square roots of 2, which goes away. So my scale factor is 2. So it's a little more annoying if they don't have any vertical or horizontal lines, but that's how you're going to figure it out. Okay. Finally is the pictures. So if it tells you, it gives you a picture and it asks you to enlarge or reduce. If it says enlarge the scale factor of 3, these pictures are easy peasy. All you have to do is times everything by the scale factor. So C is 2, 2. So if I times everything by 3, that's going to give me 6, 6. That's all you have to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 right here is my C prime. Okay, B is -2, 1. Times it by 3, and you're going to get -6, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my B prime. And then A is 0, -2. So if I times that by 3, I'm going to get 0, -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's your A prime. So it should be much bigger. Okay, it's enlarged by a scale factor of 3. This one over here reduced, so it should be a smaller picture when you're done. And it says by a factor of 1/2. So B is -2, 6. So -2, 6. And if it's reduced, you're still timesing by 1/2. Basically, you're cutting them in half, so that's going to end up being -1, 3. So that's going to be my B prime. A is negative 4, 0. So timesing by a half is the same as dividing by 2. So that's just going to give me negative 2, 0. And then C is 4, negative 4. So cutting those in half is going to give you 2, negative 2. So that would be your C prime. Okay, so that's all you have to do when you're doing, again, you don't have to draw them. You can just do the dots for me. That's fine. Or label the coordinates. Just depends on what the directions are.